The video that you're about to watch is a sneak preview of Steel City Drone's Matrice 300 online course on the subject of Lidar and the ZenMoose L1 camera sensor. Now, our course is very comprehensive on this subject. We go over the entire workflow process, from everything about how to be able to set all the equipment up and how to collect the data, and then bringing the data into DJI Terra and beyond. It's very comprehensive. We have 6 videos currently and can continue adding more on, and an hour's worth of content overall. So I hope you enjoy this video. Now, to start off with, as a prerequisite here for what we're doing, we're going to be talking about a lot of features that are advanced into that also we've already talked about in other parts to the course. For example, terrain following, how to be able to set up a DSM model, the RTK setup, how to use a ground station. We do go over different key aspects of that in these videos, but again, for more advanced parts to that, especially with the terrain following and the DSM model, those take a full chapter in themselves on how to be able to go over and explain how to be able to use them. We can use, this is a very versatile camera sensor. We can use this for LiDAR mapping as well as traditional photogrammetry. Now, that comes in handy if you don't have a budget to have an L1 and a P1 at the same time. This does both very well. This is a fixed camera, and it is what it is, but it does it very well. It is a high-grade, survey-grade sensor on here as well. So we can do both types of flight missions on here. Now, let's talk about accuracy in a generalized term. Accuracy means different things to different people. It's also a very vague term. So there are different levels and different terms of accuracy that we have to think about. And we got to look at what's called ranging accuracy as well as system accuracy, because those are all going to both affect the overall absolute accuracy of your project. Now, what do I mean by all this? So let's take one step at a time. We can have a ranging accuracy of up to 3 centimeters at 100 meters away in that range. This has up to 450 meters up at 80% reflectivity and 190 meters at 10% reflectivity. So what does that mean? Well, objects that are more reflective, or I should say focal areas that are more reflective, are going to have a better detection range where you can have the drone further away and be able to detect it very well. And the less reflective it is, the drone will then have to be closer up to its focal areas. I would consider to be like thin branches where all the leaves are off the trees, are not going to be very reflective compared to, let's say, a building structure. Next is the system accuracy. What is system accuracy? Well, that's going to take into all of your individual components in your system that can have an influence over your overall project accuracy. So for example, your actual camera sensor here has a high precision IMU sensor in here. And we have to do a lot of calibration, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. If we don't calibrate the IMU like we're supposed to, then that's going to affect the overall system accuracy. Using the RTK system, it is a prerequisite for LiDAR mapping that we're using RTK system, so that we're going to have a lot more tighter control over our flights. So as a reminder, the RTK system, when the RTK system is engaged and we have RTK service, the aircraft will fly tighter, and the aircraft will actually have a much tighter on the Z-axis for how it flies. The speed that it's written to the card, the delay, the calibration of the right speed. So a lot of things come into the system accuracy, but DJI gives us an overall generalized view of what we should see. And that is an overall system accuracy spec that they're giving us. So if you have purchased your L1 camera, or you're considering getting the L1 camera with the hopes that you're going to get anywhere between 1, 2, 3 centimeters of accuracy in your project, it's not going to happen. Even the top line, the best of the best LiDAR systems out there that cost anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000. You're going to be pressed to see anything better than 2 to 3 centimeters of accuracy. 2 centimeters of accuracy is really not achievable with a LiDAR system. It's just not what it does. If you need that type of accuracy, then you're better off doing photogrammetry using like a P1 camera sensor with RTK, and even go beyond instead of ground control points if you really need the tightest of the tight accuracies. You might be saying to yourself, if LiDAR is not as accurate as photogrammetry, then why are we using this? Well, LiDAR has definitely a place in space in the area out there. If you're familiar with photogrammetry, a lot of people recommend that we do all of our flight mapping when the leaves are off the trees so that we can get the best resolution out of that vegetation area. And even when we do that, it's very limited at best. So LiDAR gives us a lot better resolution, better penetration for being able to do in those type of applications. That's where this shines. We must use RTK service when we're flying the LiDAR L1 camera sensor with the Matrice 300. Now we can go ahead and use and do a flight without the RTK, but the DJI Terra software, which is required for us to process the data, will not even allow us to start the process if their RTK service is not attached to the pictures. So this is our flight area that we're going to go ahead and map. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to look at a couple different things. How big is the area overall? And how much elevation change do we have to worry about? So for example, I have Google Earth Pro opened up, and my mouse is over where this blue pad is. That's going to be kind of an area where I'm going to have the drone take off from, and the elevation is right around 913 feet. So, but I'm going to be going ahead and mapping this entire area, which has a hilly terrain with trees. So I'm going to put my mouse over to different areas and look to see where I have the highest point. So I'd say about 1036 is pretty close to being the highest point. So that's about 123 feet in change that we have to take into account, because we have to obviously have our drone a certain height above that obstacle. Now, again, this is where we may want to consider, well, maybe it might be better to have terrain following in here. We have to keep in mind that the speed is also going to dictate the maximum size of our lines that we can have, because we have to calibrate the IMU every 100 seconds in flight. So if we were to run 10 miles an hour, the maximum line that we could have is 1,640 feet. So we're going to go ahead and prepare our ground station coordinates. So right now, this is survey grade equipment that's going to go ahead and give us the coordinates that we need. And then we're going to put our ground station right on top of that point. And then we're going to input those coordinates into our pilot settings in the app. On the left side of your screen, you're seeing the raw data coordinates that come off the DRTK base station after we powered it up. On the right side of the screen is the corrected measurements that our survey tech was able to get with the check shots that they took with the very expensive survey grade equipment. So you may be saying, well, isn't the DRTK base station a survey grade piece of equipment that should be very accurate? Well, it's in perspective of the other equipment. We're talking about using equipment that's probably $35,000 versus something that is $3,600. And when we're trying to get within 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 centimeters of accuracy, you're not going to be able to achieve that with uncorrected raw values. So it's going to do the initial IMU calibration 3 times. It's going to go back and forth for 30 meters each time. So you'll see it slow down. So you can see it, the HS speed was almost at 0, and then it picks up again. Now it's going to stop again because it's exiting that yellow area, and now it's going to continue on. And now it's doing the end calibration which is going back and forth 3 times. All right, so we're finished. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to our office and process the data. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that this video was able to show you how comprehensive this course is. Again, this is just one sample of many that you can see at steelcityflightacademy.com. We also have a 3.5-minute promo video that kind of showcases the entire course if you haven't seen that yet. So if you have more questions about anything regarding the course, please feel free to reach out to us directly and we'll be glad to talk to you. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you soon.